You may think you know yourself better than anyone else, but one unsettling fact remains: we're all masters of carefully crafted illusions, hiding our true feelings from ourselves and others most of the time. At the root of this deception lies a desperate attempt to avoid confronting our deepest insecurities, which we're forced to conceal through a complex web of lies and justifications. We've all seen it in our friends and loved ones, maybe in ourselves, the way they suddenly become defensive or dismissive when confronted with a harsh truth about their shortcomings. In this video, we're going to delve into the sinister allure of self-deception, exploring how people use emotional manipulation to hide their most primal insecurities from the world, and from their own mirrors of self-reflection. Here are 6 insightful spoken sentences that fit the section "The Mask That Conceals, Unmasking the Mechanisms of Emotional Manipulation" in a long-form video about the sinister allure of self-deception, how people use emotional manipulation to hide their most primal insecurity. The mask we present to the world serves as a shield, deflecting attention from the vulnerabilities within a carefully crafted disguise designed to conceal our deepest insecurities. Our primal insecurity, the fear of being rejected, abandoned, or unloved, is the driving force behind much of our behavior, causing us to use emotional manipulation as a means to secure the validation we crave. When we engage in manipulative behavior, we're not just seeking control, but also a fragile sense of security, a way to momentarily quell the anxiety that arises from facing our own inadequacies head-on. Behind every mask of confidence and charm lies a fragile, vulnerable self, desperate for validation and acceptance, a desperate cry for connection that often manifests as emotional manipulation. It's a subtle yet insidious dynamic, one where we use our attractiveness, charm, or intelligence to lure others into our web of emotional manipulation, creating a sense of dependence and obligation that serves to further our own needs. Ultimately, emotional manipulation is a coping mechanism, a misguided attempt to fill the void of our own insecurity, rather than confronting the root causes of our pain and working to heal them. When we hide our deepest insecurities behind masks of confidence, we often do so not out of strength, but out of a desperate need for validation. The primal terror of being alone, unloved, and unseen is so terrifying that it forces us to create elaborate systems of self-deception to keep it at bay. What we're really seeking in our relationships and interactions is a mirror to reflect our own self-worth, and if that mirror is broken, we'll do anything to recreate it. People who exhibit the most outward bravado are often the ones whose insecurities are most deeply buried, and thus require the most elaborate deception. We're drawn to people who are willing to engage in this elaborate dance of self-deception because it provides us with a twisted sense of control and validation. Beneath the surface of any manipulative relationship, there lies a fundamental fear: the fear of exposure, of being seen for who we truly are, and the terror that we might not be enough. When we observe individuals who've mastered the art of self-deception, we often see a subtle yet profound dance of power dynamics at play, as they manipulate the emotional landscape to conceal their most primal fears, fears that threaten to append their carefully curated public personas. Self-deceivers are masters of exploiting the human tendency to seek validation and connection, using their charm and charisma to draw others into their web of illusions, where they can be worshipped and idolized. But beneath the surface of this calculated display of confidence and control lies a tangled web of insecurities, a desperate bid to ward off the abyss of uncertainty that looms within, a chasm they're terrified to confront. These individuals often use their ego as a shield, projecting an invincible façade to the world, while simultaneously cultivating a sense of attraction and allure, drawing in admirers and enablers to compensate for their own feelings of inadequacy. By skillfully navigating the realm of emotions, they are able to distract us from their true vulnerabilities, lulling us into a false sense of security as they cleverly redirect our attention towards their carefully crafted narrative of strength and self-assurance. In this twisted game of psychological cat and mouse, the self-deceiver holds the reins of control, expertly manipulating the emotional currents to maintain their grip on reality, even as they teeter on the precipice of their own crumbling facades. As we wade through the murky waters of self-deception, we often find ourselves trapped in a delicate dance of emotional manipulation, where people use relationships as a means to validate their own insecurities and feed their ego, rather than genuinely connecting with others. It's in these situations that the line between attraction and validation becomes blurred, and people begin to confuse the need for control with the desire for love and connection, which ultimately leads them down a path of self-deception. We often see people who are masterfully adept at masking their true intentions, hiding their primal insecurities behind a veil of charm and charisma, only to reveal themselves to be desperate for validation, their egos inflating with each perceived success, no matter how fleeting. But beneath all the carefully crafted facades and carefully chosen words lies a more primal truth. People are driven by a fundamental need to feel seen, heard, and understood, often at the expense of their own emotional well-being and the well-being of those around them. In these webs of deception, the attraction to power and control can masquerade as attraction to love and vulnerability, as individuals seek to validate their own insecurities through manipulation and exploitation, rather than truly engaging with the complexities of human emotion. Ultimately, it's not about being fooled by the clever tricks and tactics of emotional manipulation, but about recognizing the primal desperation driving these behaviors, and confronting the darker aspects of our own psyche, for it's only when we acknowledge the depths of our own insecurity and primal fears that we can begin to break free from the chains of self-deception and forge genuine connections with others. As we delve into the realm of intimate connections, it's essential to acknowledge that many of us use tactics of emotional manipulation to shield ourselves from vulnerability, essentially hiding from our own primal insecurities behind a mask of charm and charisma. When we're driven by a deep-seated need for validation, we often employ self-deception as a means to control the narrative and maintain a sense of self-worth, frequently at the expense of our partner's emotional well-being. Despite appearing confident and self-assured on the surface, we're often crippled by our own insecurities and fears, which can make us extremely attracted to those who can supply the emotional support we crave, even if it means compromising our autonomy and sense of self. The allure of power and control can be a potent catalyst for self-deception, as we may use our charm and wit to subtly manipulate those around us into serving our emotional needs, all while convincing ourselves that we're simply being our authentic, charming selves. In essence, self-deception serves as a form of emotional anesthesia, numbing our discomfort and allowing us to momentarily escape the vulnerability and uncertainty that accompanies genuine intimacy, but at a steep cost to our emotional authenticity. Ultimately, it's only by confronting and acknowledging the true nature of our motivations and insecurities that we can begin to break free from the cycle of self-deception and develop genuinely meaningful connections with others, based on trust, empathy, and mutual respect rather than a desperate need for validation. Take a moment to reflect on the ways in which you might be deceived, not by others, but by your own desires and insecurities. The allure of self-deception is subtle, yet its consequences are profound. Acknowledge it, and begin to break its hold. Remember, the truth about ourselves sets us free now. Go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into the intricate complexities of the human psyche.